You're gonna give a black atheist to a white, tatted, MAGA, pissed off guy that's like 6'5" and could like swallow me up in one gulp? You look at that and you're like, this is horrible on every level.
What I'm going to talk to you guys about today is what we're doing wrong, because debating religion is a complete waste of time. When I started this YouTube channel, I had this idea that I was going to come out as atheist. Hearing the, oh God, Siri, please shut the fuck up. Okay. So what was the big epiphany? The epiphany was, if we look at all of the scholars and biblical teachers and philosophers and scientists and professors debating religion versus non-belief, there have been endless amounts of debates and discussions and talks and classes and all of these things talking about belief versus non-belief for forever by very smart, brilliant, genius minds on both sides. Now, if they can't come to an agreement and neither side can convince or sway the other side, what is it that we are trying to achieve? I think the lazy part of our brains thinks the better the evidence, the more chance the other side might agree with us. There are a ton of channels on social media, Christians and atheists, trying to prove their point and trying to disprove the other person's point. What are the odds that that information is going to change the mind of somebody? What are the odds that they're going to be like, that's a good point. I think I'm an atheist. It's like we don't consider what a human is and how humans are persuaded or how you get through to them. We brag all the time about reading books like The Art of Persuasion and How to Win Friends and Influence People. The skill taught in those books are the polar opposite of how our egos operate. Politics and religion, we don't approach those with kindness and empathy and understanding. It is the opposite. Let's say we're a salesperson, which right now sales is on the rise. I literally have PTSD, post-traumatic sales disorder. I feel there's an influx of people trying to sell something. Everything I feel like is a sales pitch. And we read books like The Art of Persuasion and How to Win Friends and Influence People. But it's almost like we read those books to lie to people. How can I convince this person to buy my product or lend me their money? We twist it into this, I'm a giver, when really the whole point is for you to get from them. And I just feel like it's so deceiving, making it look like I'm giving to you when at the end of the day, I'm really doing it to get. And I hated the feeling of it being fake. And I just couldn't connect with it. I hate the feeling of being misleading. Even if it is benefiting both people, but I'm literally trying to sound like the savior and I'm a giver, when really there might be a little bit of giving, but at the end of the day, you're profiting 10 trillion times more than the person you're talking about giving to. How the fuck did I even get on this topic? Again, when we look at books like that, The Art of Persuasion and How to Win Friends and Influence People, we never read those books to reach people on levels for important issues that aren't making us money. Like, it is so twisted to me that it's like we'll go out of our way to learn how to win friends and influence people. We only try to come across as this understanding, empathetic person when we're trying to sell some shit. And that's fake. So why try to learn people for greed, but not for humanity and not for love and connection? So if we're so invested in learning how to disarm people so we can take their money, I think we need to start utilizing the tactics of disarming people to reach them. We can use the same tactics for things like politics and real estate, or politics and religion. Fuck your sales pitch. when we're throwing insults and we're patronizing, I'm trying to prove you wrong and I'm trying to prove myself right, those are just pointless dopamine hits. It's not doing anything. It's just the ego trying to soothe itself and feel right. No one's threat of hell has ever made me want to believe in God. Probably the opposite. It makes me run even further away. When you threaten me to hell or talk to me about Judgment Day, I think someone said last night, not even the devil didn't believe in God. So if you don't believe in God, you're worse than the devil. Somebody said that to me yesterday. And to me, I'm thinking, what's the point of that? Like, what really is the point? Has anyone ever insulted another person into believing them? It's pointless. It's like that meme where the guy's standing in the flood and he's just like shoveling the water into the same pool that he's in. It's like it is so pointless, and it's on every scale. It's every scale. We see brilliant people debating religion versus non-religion and what's real and what's not. And it doesn't do anything. It is a non-moving needle. And so we obviously still have a problem, but we haven't figured out how to fix it. And the problem is we're divided by these things. We're divided by politics. We're divided by religion. We have mislabeled things like atheism, what describes a moral person. And there's a push, there's a pull, and it is literally going nowhere. We present our point in a way that makes people build walls because we're talking at them. We're talking down to them. We're trying to prove them wrong. And that is the polar opposite of how you reach a person. That because you cannot reach a person unless you disarm them first. Not being patronizing about it. Oh, I know you're lost. I'm sorry. Fuck that. That's not understanding. That's being an asshole. That is not being godlike. It is not being understanding. It's a mind game. Telling someone they're going to go to hell because they don't believe in something, but trying to say it in a sweet voice, just like fuck off. Sorry. The epiphany of how we change this came when I started to read the comments from this interview. I was ready, thinking that I was going to have all these Christians coming out with their swords ready to, bring me down. I just was literally blown away by the understanding and the support. There were some negative comments, but the ones that just almost like changed my just brain wiring were the ones that was like, I'm Christian, but I totally resonated with what you're saying. I relate to when you said this. And I'm getting chills even thinking about it because I think all we want is to coexist. And I was watching that. I was looking at all these Christians in my comment section. They were able to say, I resonated with this. And although, we might not see this the same, I appreciate that you are willing to pray with families if they ask you to. And that's when I had the epiphany that it's not just about evidence or what you can prove. It has to do with what you're ready to hear. And there's so many different factors that trying to convince anybody that what they believe is wrong or what they don't believe is wrong is not only is it completely ineffective, we're doing it to soothe our ego. I think most of us are good people, but I think a lot of us walk around with our defenses up. Because I even feel like a lot of people that say mean things to me, they're good people. It's just that they have a wall up. And that's how we operate. It's like we've all caught this sickness caused by the walls we've built to protect ourselves. When I did that interview, I mentioned things that I thought maybe I should mention that people wouldn't assume since I came out as atheist. Just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean that I don't feel these people. I don't understand what their belief brings to them. And who am I to take that away? Like, so if I know that people's lives glow around their belief and is fueled by their belief, who am I to try to take them away from that? This is what I see when I'm looking at it from an empathetic place. I see it for what it actually is. I think people assume if you're atheist, you come with all these other things. It's not black and white. It's not black and white. For instance, I have a cousin who has worked really hard to receive recognition in her ministry, and I saw that on social media, and I was really proud of her. It doesn't mean I can't be proud of that because I'm an atheist. I really do think we're all good. Most of us are really good people, but the ego can be so overcoming and so strong that it makes us look ugly at times. And then we just feed off of it and we forget the objective. I had a patient, no one liked him because he was aggressive and rude, and his spouse was in the hospital, and he was getting to the point where he wouldn't comply with anybody, and every time someone had to go in the room to talk to him, they had to bring security in. And I got this patient, and I heard about him, and I was kind of prepared for this guy, this spouse of the patient. And when I started to talk to him, he was really manipulative and on the defense and pissed off. I knew there was a reason he was upset. I had to get to the root of what was making him upset. That is always where I start. And he was upset because he felt like no one was listening to the arrangement that needed to happen in order for their kids to see his wife. So we're trying to plan on the next steps for when the patient leaves the hospital. And he was really upset with how the plan was being put together by staff. And no one was hearing the other person. And so you got an aggressive guy, and you got staff that's telling you have to comply, and these are the rules, this is our policy, and it's just pissing this guy off. And the other nurse that gave me a report was like, he's a huge white guy, tatted up, has his MAGA hat on, and really aggressive, and we have security. And you think to yourself, what a terrible nurse to give to this guy, a black atheist. Like, you're gonna give a black atheist to a white, tatted, MAGA, pissed off guy that's like 6'5" and could like swallow me up in one gulp? You think that's a good compatibility, right? Like, you look at that and you're like, this is horrible on every level, on the racial level, on the political level, on the religious level. Like, it was, to the regular eye, it would have been awful, right? But if I'm looking at this person as a human rather than his labels, society's labels, and where he fits in that, I can operate totally differently. I'm not looking at this person because he views things differently than me. I'm looking at him as a human that cares about his family. So I told this guy, I'm your case manager today. You have pushed everyone else away because you won't comply with them, and I'm here to help you. Now, it was a long day. He pulled out all the stops on me, the manipulation, the slick little jabs, and things like that. I'd only talked to him on the phone. And when I told this guy, nobody else likes you here. I'm your last option. I'm here to do whatever I have to do to get your wife in the best place possible. We're going to figure out how your kids are going to be able to see your wife. We're going to figure this out together. But you're not going to manipulate me, and I'm not going to put up with your shit. So the combination of showing him my boundaries, but also showing him that I truly cared about figuring out what we needed to do for his wife. By the end of the day, even though he was a pain in the ass most of the day, he told me, he said, "You are the only nurse that listened to me." He said, "You were probably the meanest nurse, but in a way where you just didn't let me fuck with you, and you stood your ground. You didn't let me run over you," because some nurses were just too nice and didn't get anything done because they kind of froze and he just, destroyed them. And the other ones were just too robotic and this is our policy, you have to do this, and neither of those work. So at the end of the day, we figured it out. He couldn't get everything he wanted, but I worked as hard as I could to get the situation where all parties were happy. He thanked me, and I went down to his room, and we start talking about cats. He loves cats. I talked to him about his daughters. I stood at his wife's bedside and held her hand, even though she couldn't hear me. I talked to her. And I wrote in his little guest book. But what are the odds that all of those labels that look like they would have made us hate each other, we just stripped them. We stripped those because we saw each other as humans. We don't have to talk about politics. We see things totally different politically. We see things totally different religiously. We are total polar opposites as far as color and experience and life views. But when you disarm people and you strip the labels, instead of insulting and hardening the boxes that separate us, tell yourself you're not going to have the answers, then you see the soul. You're giving that person permission to show their light. And then it just takes the walls down. We're not going to get along with everybody. There's going to be shitty people that don't know what the fuck I'm talking about right now, and that's fine. But for the majority of us, it's the only way we're going to reach each other. I noticed that I have a larger number of followers than I did a few days ago. And so most of you guys found me because of my interview. So everyone who has subscribed, I appreciate you, especially if we see things differently. Unless you're just there to troll me, that's fine too. We always need a little razzle-dazzle in those comment threads. But I challenge you guys to find somebody that's different than you and find something you have in common with them. Depending on what you want to achieve, I challenge you to try it, because being hateful and being manipulative is just making you old. I'm going to sell you on an anti-aging tip. Stop being a dick. Releasing all that cortisol in your ego-driven selves is you're making yourself look old. So lead with kindness, lead with love, and that's how you're going to achieve the least amount of gray hair as possible. Be a good human. Most people are so much better than we think they are. It's just that we have built up so many walls. We can't blame another group. We can't, as long as we're identifying as a different group, we're committing the same crime. If you're identifying as a group against another group as an opposing team, when in reality we are just humans, we are just naked fucking bodies with minds and souls. That's it. We are just humans who came out of a vagina. We're more the same than we think. Anytime you see somebody, just remind yourself they took a shit today also. So did this person. We are the same. We are one and the same. So that's it. I'm gonna let you guys fester on that. This is way too long. But thank you guys for listening.